The Maiden's eye is probably the most difficult splice of those covered in this series. However, it also is probably the strongest. And it is also the fairest in the splice body, hence its name. The main difference between the Maiden eye and the others is that the loop itself consists of a long splice. Consequently, if the eye is going to receive serving for chafe protection, the Maiden's eye would not be a good choice, since the rope in the bite is not really ready for serving until the eye is completed. On the other hand, if one is making an extra large eye, this eye would be a good choice, since the strength of the included long splice increases with the size of the eye. As before, we measure back from the end of the rope the distance that we want for our splice, and then add to that the distance that's going to be incorporated into the eye. We'll mark those three positions with tape, and then form the eye, and down near the end of the eye, mark the strands. We'll use these to help us line up the strands later. Now we can unwind all three strands in the section that's going to be incorporated into the splice. Okay, now form the eye and pick the strand that as near the top. We'll say it's this one, and that strand we're going to unwind back all the way through the eye. But before we unwind all that, unwind just a little bit, and then take a scrap strand and put it back into the space that was created when you unwound it. This way we won't lose that orientation of accident, which can spell disaster for this splice. And then we'll unwind this strand back to the other tape. Now we can realign our work, and that mark we made on our strands is here in these two strands and right here. We want that point to more or less come back to itself to get this same size eye. So that's about there. That means that this strand should mate approximately there, so we can, holding the strands in position, we'll take our scrap out and we'll replace it with the third strand. Now we can reweave that in. By doing that, we didn't accidentally shift the positions here, which ultimately later on will make it difficult and impossible to finish the splice. Again, over twist, put it in the void, and then let it relax. Okay, we'll stop our long splice just short of the throat of the eye, and then we'll switch back and work on the working side. We'll wind this up as tight as we can into the eye. Looks like we can get one more wrap here. There. Now there'll be two strands. One will be leading and one will be lagging. Okay, I've zoomed in and I've taken the tape off the throat position, but I put another one on the working strand's side so that it won't be confusing. These are our two strands on the working side, the leading strand and the lagging strand or trailing strand. And here's our, what we'll call our long splice strand. Our first tuck will be to take the leading strand and tuck it under the first strand that's forward of the gap. Then we'll take and lay our long splice strand back into its space and lay it underneath the lagging strand. And finally we'll take our lagging strand and we'll tuck it under two. So it ends up going over the long splice strand and then under two. And then we'll tighten it up. Now that completes the marriage. Now we can turn it over and we'll make a first over and under tuck on the underside. I'll flatten it out a little bit. Now we can turn it back over to the top side and we'll take our long splice strand and do an over and under tuck. And then we can take our leading strand and make the final tuck. We can check for tautness in all the strands. One of the problems with the Maiden splice is that sometimes that long splice strand will be either loose or over tensioned within the eye itself, and now is a good time to correct that. If there's a, say, a loose spot, we can work that, or work back and then tighten on the long splice strand, or if necessary loosen it to get the eye itself to be laying fair. Then we can finish with one or two more tucks. So that's the Maiden splice.